Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/AmITheDevil for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the posts, giving you my own opinion, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole relationships. Am I the asshole for planning to confess my feelings to my married manager? I, 27 female, feel like I'm losing my mind. My best friend just called me delusional and threatened to distance herself from me if I go through with this. So, I need an outside perspective. For my own personal safety, all names have been changed. For the past year, I've worked closely with David, 38 male. He's the assistant manager at the retail pharmacy where I work as a pharmacy technician. He's married to Sarah, and they have 2 toddlers. His locker is covered in drawings from his kids, and he talks about his family constantly. On paper, he's the ultimate married man. But over the last 6 months, I feel like our relationship has changed. It started in November when my dog passed away. He noticed I was crying in the break room, went down the street, and bought me a vanilla latte and a muffin. He sat with me for 10 minutes and just listened to me vent. No one else at work even noticed I was upset, but he did. Since then, we've developed a routine. Whenever we pass each other by the stockroom, he gives me this specific warm smile. A few weeks ago, during a hectic Monday rush, I made a joke to a difficult customer that felt flat, but I looked across the pharmacy counter and David was smiling and shaking his head. It felt like an inside joke just between us. Then there was the team dinner last month at a packed, deafening restaurant. Because it was crowded, David sat directly across from me. At one point, the room got incredibly loud. David leaned all the way across the table to hear what I was saying. While I was talking, he looked directly at my lips, smiled, and nodded along. A few of our coworkers at the end of the table actually stopped talking and just stared at us because it looked so intense. It felt like the rest of the room completely melted away. The biggest thing happened last Friday. We were staying late to finish checking in an inventory shipment. The store was closed. He walked over to check my progress, and as he leaned over my shoulder to look at the terminal, his sleeve brushed against my arm. He didn't pull away immediately. He stayed there for at least 3 seconds before he clocked out. He looked at me and said, "Don't stay too late, Shelby. We need you around here." I felt a physical spark. I'm convinced that he's trapped in a passionless marriage, and his kindness is his subconscious way of crying out for a connection. He always remembers exactly how I take my coffee. Men don't pay that much attention to a woman unless they're deeply attracted to her. My plan is to ask him to grab drinks after our shift this Thursday and gently lay my cards on the table. I want to tell him that I know he feels the connection too, and that I'm willing to wait for him. My best friend snapped at me saying, "Shelby, he's a nice guy. He brought you coffee once. You're being delusional and you're about to ruin your job based on a sleeve brushing against your arm." Am I misreading this, or am I the asshole if I say how I feel? Okay. I know it's pretty common for guys to misread signals from girls and take it as, well, she smiled at me, so therefore she wants to fuck me, right? And we've literally had sagas of nice guys just misinterpret the smallest gestures of kindness into becoming just full-on lunatics, but this is definitely up there. Oh my god, he laughed at my joke and his sleeve brushed against me. I know he's married and has toddlers and puts the pictures up on his locker, but I just know it's a loveless marriage and I have to put my cards on the table. Honestly, I'm gonna be real here. This sounds like he just sees you as a daughter than he does an actual romantic interest. It just sounds like he cares about you from, a very parental kind of way. I mean, yeah, of course he noticed that you were down on your shift. He's your manager. It's part of his job to make sure that his employees are at peak operating efficiency. Plus, it definitely helps that dude actually has a solid heart, saw one of his employees was down on their luck and not having a good day. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna go cheer him up. There's actually also kind of a really sad underlying layer to this, is that the fact that she believes that a guy wouldn't really pay that much attention about what kind of coffee she would like, unless they're deeply attracted to her, kind of spells out that she's probably had some really, really shitty relationships, and guys just not treating her well. So when a guy so much as just treats her with a modicum of respect, she's head over heels and smitten, because Why else would they do that? My boyfriend's never did this, so obviously he's in a loveless marriage and wants to be with me. So, unfortunately, I went to go check OP's comments right after I said that. Probably should have opened with that, but this is exactly the case. I think I'm definitely coming to understand that I may not. As I said in another comment, I have had no positive male relationships in my life. My family isn't even notable as a family. It's all unfortunate, but that's likely why I've hyper-fixated on his gestures. I appreciate you commenting with a sense of empathy for my situation and asking thoughtful questions rather than immediately accusing me of being a bad person. Thank you. From OP's comments, it does seem that they do understand now that this is definitely an overreaction on their part, and that they aren't going to pursue this any further, and they might even look to find a new job. My biggest hope for OP is that you can find more positive relationships in your life, both friendships, romantic relationships, and potentially even people who you can consider family who can fill that void. Good luck in the future. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for snapping at my half-sister when she called to say neither her nor my other sister will be attending my wedding after they both RSVP'd yes? Throwaway, names changed. I, female 23, have two half-sisters. Molly, female 29, and Mary, female 33, from my dad's previous marriage. I wasn't close to either of them growing up because they mainly stayed with their mom, and we just generally weren't close. We're all nicer to one another, but it's not buddy-buddy. I got married a few weeks ago, and both Molly and Mary were invited. They both RSVP'd yes. Literally a couple days before the wedding, Mary calls and says neither her nor Molly will be attending. I'm shocked because obviously all the catering, everything's been put in, and now 4 people won't be attending. They each had a +1. Mary did sound apologetic, and she explained it to me, detailing a traumatic situation Molly's going through, and she will also not be attending and staying with Molly and their mom instead. I got upset and said that I understand, but if she can just attend for a little while to support me, she can leave early if she wishes. Mary kept saying it's not possible, so I snapped and said how neither of them care about my feelings in the effort put into this wedding, especially since Molly herself didn't bother giving me a call to let me know, and it's obvious that I was always the outsider sister and not a part of their group. Mary said I was being selfish and hung up the phone. I did tell some relatives the situation who knew about it and got mixed reactions for going off at Mary, so am I the asshole for snapping because they didn't come to my wedding? So, traumatic situation being in quotes is still kind of a dick move because, you're simply downplaying what they possibly could have gone through because you failed to elaborate. And you seem more upset that they can't attend because you've already paid for catering for 4 people and are completely non-sympathetic to whatever traumatic situation they could possibly going through. Hey, what could they possibly be going through, by the way? A deleted user asked for info. What exactly was the traumatic situation? Because if it actually lives up to that name, yeah, not sure how you think you're not the asshole. And something tells me you're avoiding details because they don't make you look good for worrying more about catering than whatever Molly's dealing with. OP responded, by the way, happy cake day apparently. Molly's boyfriend passed away in an accident a few weeks before the wedding. What the fuck? Her boyfriend died. It's not that traumatic, and how dare she not attend my wedding? Dude, I feel horrible for your husband because this is what he's marrying. Good fucking God. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for not wanting my wife to spend a week at our cabin? My wife has been staying with her sister for the past 2 weeks. Her sister is a single mom to a 4-year-old with brain cancer. My sister-in-law was feeling burnt out, so my wife decided to extend her trip indefinitely to help her take care of her niece. This happened on Saturday. Her niece will be spending the next 2 weeks in the hospital. My wife is planning to stay in the hospital with her niece. Then she wants to take her to our cabin for a week, so she can play in the snow. Then she'll be spending Christmas with her sister. She's a housewife, so it's not like she has a job to get back to, but I would like to see her at some point this month, and this house can't run the same without her. She just told me about this plan to take her niece to the cabin. I told her that I want her to come back sooner than later, and that I don't want her to go to the cabin. She says I'm welcome to come with her, but she wants to spend this time with her niece. I told her she's going to come home within the next week or so, and she snapped that I'm not her boss, and that she will be taking her niece to see snow. Then she'll be spending Christmas with her. Now we're not speaking, so I wanted to know if I was the asshole. One of the comments OP responded to, formal type 5123, info, who else is living in the household besides you and your wife? OP, with the username absent wife, nobody, just me and her, if she'd ever come back. Dude, you suck. Like, you could see her at any time. She literally offered that you could go with her and spend time with her. Like, that's not even a question that she's, like, avoiding you. She's just spending time with her niece, who's 4, and has brain cancer, and is helping her sister out, because she's a single mother to a child with brain cancer. And what's your main concern? That she's not back at home because the house can't run the same without her. Do you want to see her again, or do you just want her to continue doing your laundry? Which one is it? Because if you wanted to see her again, she offered you to go up to the cabin with her. Like, way to make it so goddamn obvious you don't give a damn about the care your wife's trying to provide and you just want her back at home to do the housework. Cross-posted from r/am I wrong? Am I wrong for calling out my friend for setting me up on a pity date? I, 32 male, have a friend, 28 male, who's the best looking man. Seriously, he makes Chris Hemsworth look ugly. I've been struggling being his friend. He's been undermining me for years. Nights out, stealing all the girls. Shopping, staff throwing themselves at him. On the street, women have asked me for a picture together with him. Let's call him Jack. I've been told I'm not bad looking, but the fact remains I'm a 6 out of 10 at best. But Jack's a 10 out of 10. As much as he's a bro, knowing him is a liability. It's been eating into my life a lot, but one area I'm doing well is at the gym. I go about 4 a week, and there's someone I'm into who goes to the gym. Let's call her GC for Gym Cutie. Gym Cutie is in her the late 20s. I've been going to the gym for over 6 months. I've seen her for a couple of months. I know her name. Gym Cutie and me flirt. I've spotted her and we banter. It's got to the stage I'm on the verge of asking Gym Cutie out. I've been trying to keep Jack from the gym, but last week he was staying down my way and asked if could go with me. Now, the time he mentioned was not my usual time, and Gym Cutie doesn't usually go, so I thought, why not? So we went. I was having a good session, then suddenly I see Gym Cutie. She's going on a different day because she's going away for work tomorrow, and she's getting a workout in. I'm thinking things are going good. Time's good to ask Gym Cutie out. Fucking Jack walks over and she is gobsmacked. Like, I've gone from mate to doesn't exist. I see them flirting, so I just walk off and go to get changed. As I'm getting changed, he comes back in and I see him sorting his phone out. I ask him what happened and he said Gym Cutie gave him her number. I'm so speechless, I just stop talking and carry on getting changed. I'm driving us back from the gym and he's talking about Gym Cutie and them going on a date. After a while, I just fucking snap and rip into him, saying he's a prick and he's cock-blocked me and stole my girl. He's trying to act all apologetic and say he has no idea, and I just drop him off home and tell him to get out. I'm so down. I haven't been to the gym this week. I also haven't spoken to Jack. A couple of days ago, Jack rings me out of the blue, asking me if I'm okay, and he hasn't heard from me. And Gym Cutie hasn't seen me at the gym. He's worried about me. He says he's got a peace offering and says he's sending me an Instagram profile and says to look at it before I say anything. I look at what he's sent me, and it's a woman. She's a little chubby, not ugly or fat, and doesn't look like she goes to the gym. She also looks a bit nerdy. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And he says it's a friend of Gym Cutie. I'm angry because it's obvious him and Gym Cutie have been talking. He says, yeah, me and Gym Cutie went out for a coffee and we spoke. She feels bad I liked her, and she doesn't like me, and that of a friend I'd like, 34 female. He's trying to sell me on this chick. Like, bro, She sounds nice, a nerd, like you, loves cats and is a geek. If it was a few years ago, I'd probably be interested, but I've been trying to distance myself from that sort of girl. Apparently him and YeetySkeety have spoken to the girl and she's interested in me adding her and going on a date. Apparently YeetySkeety has really been selling me. I fucking rip into him. I'm telling him he's a twat for doing this and setting me up on a pity date and stealing the girl I like. He's all like, bro, chill, and think it's a good thing that this girl is waiting for me to add her. I tell him to leave me alone. Am I the asshole for ripping him, settling me on a pity date? Am I the asshole for ripping him, settling me up on a pity date? Oh, that's what he wrote. So I just want to clarify this here. So when a girl doesn't go for you and goes for Jack, that's totally wrong and not a good thing. And like, how dare they? And Jack's a liability. But when the girl that is attractive doesn't have an interest in you, but then you're given the, what were the words you used again? Little chubby, not ugly or fat, and doesn't look like she goes to the gym girl, suddenly she's not good enough and it's a pity date. I see how it is. So it's fine for you to be judgmental of appearances and for you to be picky, but if the girls are, well, how dare they? At some point, this guy's eventually gonna have to realize that, looks are maybe a fraction of the equation. I mean, yeah, you're a 6 out of 10, but according to you. But at the same time, dude, the other parts of the equation are just confidence and having a redeeming personality. And, well, maybe in addition to the gym, you focus on that aspect as well. Stop comparing yourself to Jack. Just because he's a walking Adonis doesn't mean he doesn't have his own insecurities and shortfallings that he personally sees. Try to focus more on what makes you you and not what doesn't make you Jack. Because with this temper tantrum here, you just threw away potentially what could have been 2 good friendships. Both Jack and YeetySkeety. But also, dude, this wasn't your girl for Jack to steal. You guys weren't dating, you guys weren't, anything really beyond just a platonic gym friendship. If she was your girlfriend, then yeah, you would have every right to be upset with him. But she wasn't. You guys just mostly did gym small talk by the sounds of it. For 6 months. You're 32, and you're talking like an 18-year-old who just consumed a shit ton of Andrew Tate. Pull back a little bit, my man. Cross-posted to r/am I wrong? Am I the asshole for expecting my wife to trust me again after one bad decision? I've been with my wife for 7 years. 3 years ago, my mother-in-law called us crying, saying my father-in-law had a heart attack. We thought he was dying. My wife, who was 3 months pregnant at the time, immediately jumped on the first flight back home to Sweden. She didn't ask how I felt or if it was okay. She just broke down, said she had to go, packed a carry-on, and left. While she was there, I asked her when she'd be back, and she said she didn't know because even though her dad was recovering, her mom needed help. At first, we texted all the time, but then she started ignoring my calls, saying she was too tired. I started feeling resentful. I admit I made a bad decision. I started chatting with my ex, ended up inviting her over, and we had a great night together. By morning, I regretted it and told her to leave. When my wife came back 4 months later, I came clean. She was shocked and gave me the cold shoulder for a week. I apologized, said it was a one-time mistake, and begged for forgiveness. She eventually said she'd give me one last chance. She made me block my ex, which I already had, and set some pretty strict rules. No going out with friends she doesn't know, stuff like that. I agreed. She gave birth, and things have been okay since then. She eventually let me back into our bedroom. Now, here's the problem. My buddy is getting married, and all the groomsmen are planning a Vegas bachelor party. My wife has straight up forbidden me from going. She says she doesn't trust me and thinks I'll make another bad decision. I told her she forgave me, so she needs to trust me again, but she's refusing. Am I as asshole/wrong for expecting my wife to trust me again, especially since I've been sticking to all her conditions so far? Comment from user Strangled in Moonlight, who was able to get an update from OP. The update link is broken and he deleted it. Here's the update post. OP tried posting an update link in the post, but it was missing and broken, and thankfully it was recovered by the commenters of r/AmITheDevil. Final update. Am I the asshole for expecting my wife to trust me after a one-time mistake years ago? So I came here hoping for some unbiased advice, but it seems like everyone just loves to make me the bad guy over one mistake. Here's the deal. Last night I told my wife before bed that I'd tell my buddy I can't join the Vegas trip with the guys. I said I'd use work as an excuse, and she thanked me for it. Then I told her how I feel like I'm walking on eggshells around her, that it's frustrating complying with all her rules only for her to still not trust me. I told her I feel rejected and unloved. I mean, the last time we were intimate was years ago when she got pregnant. I know I messed up, but she was rejecting me long before that trip, and I felt alone and vulnerable. I made a bad decision, but I've been paying for it ever since. She went quiet, then out of nowhere, started giving me head. I have no idea if I have to censor that or not. I was like, whoa, what's going on? She just kept going. Honestly, it was the most unexpected and weirdest thing ever, but then she got up, spat in the sink, brushed her teeth, and then came back to bed. I tried to kiss her and asked if I could return the favor, and she just said, no, I'm tired. Rolled over and started reading her book. And that's where we're at. Oral, once in a blue moon. And I'm expected to shut up and follow her rules. Back to marriage jail, I guess. Bye. So the commenters in AmITheDevil have a theory on this one, which I can't help but to agree with, that this is a made-up update because the original one didn't get the reaction that he wanted. So he basically just tried to puff out his chest and be like, yeah, but I'm still getting head, guys. The fact alone, my dude, that you even are given the option to walk on eggshells after you cheated on your pregnant wife when she was dealing with her father who just had a heart attack, like, you should consider yourself very fortunate that your wife is that forgiving. Also, I want to revisit the comment you made of, I admit I made a bad decision. I started chatting with my ex, ended up inviting her over, and we had a great night together. By morning, I regretted it. Well, if 3 years later you're still referring to a regretful night as a great night, I don't know if you really regret it as much as you do. Enjoy the eggshells. I don't know what she sees in you. Cross-posted from r/Am I Overreacting. I think my wife is flirting with the mailman and have proof. She claims she's not, and now won't talk to me. My wife and I are in our 30s. We've been married for 2 years. When we got married, we moved into a nice small house in the suburbs. Last summer, we got a new mailman who is objectively attractive. Not going into detail, but he looks good. Towards the end of summer, I noticed my wife was almost always outside around the time he would bring the mail. I actually started tracking when she would go out on a spreadsheet. She averaged going out 20 minutes before the mailman would get here. Obviously, some variation as the mail didn't come at the exact same time every day, but it was weird. She would work on our front patio and then have a short conversation with the mailman. Then, in about 7 minutes on average, she would come back inside and work from her office. Another thing I noticed is that her clothes seemed to change when she went outside. Almost 70% of the time, she would have a tank top on, then put a shirt over that when she came back inside. Dude, I hate to interrupt here, but could it possibly be because it's fucking summer? I mean, you said the mailman was showing up during the summer, dude, and it's probably colder inside, so, dude, I don't know. Anyways, I didn't say anything as fall and winter came and we live in a cold climate, and so she stopped going out. Once in a while, she would go say hi, but not like in the summer. She also gave him a very nice tip for Christmas, $250. I had forgotten about all this until it started getting warmer out with spring. I couldn't do another summer of this, and so I decided to talk to her. Last night, I sat her down and showed her... Oh, dude, you showed her the spreadsheet? Last night, I sat her down and showed her all the information from last year. I explained that I didn't feel comfortable with how much attention she gave the mailman and asked if she could not do it this summer. She didn't understand, or maybe she didn't understand the numbers. She got very upset and started yelling that she didn't do anything wrong and just happened to be out there while he was there. I tried to show her the numbers again, but she got upset and slammed the computer lid on my finger. At that point, I upset and walked out and went for a walk. When I got back home, she was gone and wouldn't answer her phone. She finally came home but wouldn't talk to me. She slept on the couch and I honestly didn't get any sleep. It's been a very weird day as she's only talking to me when absolutely needed. Otherwise, she's distant and won't talk to me. Am I overreacting, or is this normal for women to talk with the mailman? Update, people are asking for an update. Woke up this morning and she's still pissed. I guess I'll just give her more time. Many of you really aren't understanding the spreadsheet. I use it to show that she went out right around the time the mailman got here. It was a way to graph averages and show consistency. I may have been wrong about the tank top. I do realize that she may have taken it off her top because it's hot outside. Dude, no shit. Alright, buddy, if she was actually flirting with the mailman of all people, or she was trying to flirt with someone, do you think she would be so brazen with just doing it on the front porch in front of you? The $250 tip is kind of weird. I have never heard of someone tipping their mailman. But I guess it could also just be that your wife is a nice person. But also, man, the spreadsheet? Really? I don't understand why she would be upset with me tracking her every motion and comparing the time she went out onto the porch to when the mailman showed up. I showed her the numbers, but maybe she just doesn't understand. So I'll show her the numbers again. Maybe the third time will be the charm. Also, if I did have to maybe throw like a theory out, maybe at that specific window during the summer, that's when the sun was setting or was in the perfect position to like have the porch be nice and sunny, or that's when the porch was nice and shaded. There was just like a nice period of window there where like it's just really cozy, and it just happens to be when the mail was showing up. Dude, I don't know. There are so many other options that you could have like addressed this with instead of just jumping the gun to, hey, are you trying to fuck the mailman? Why are you mad at me? Look at my numbers. You don't understand. Look at the spreadsheet. Cross posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for wanting to write my novel while my girlfriend works? A couple of months ago, I, a 32 male, lost my job. It was expected, and I honestly was excited about it because my work-life balance wasn't great, and my girlfriend, 28 female, makes more than enough to support us both. I decided I would use at least this summer to return to a passion project of mine, a piece of genre-bending fiction I hadn't touched in a decade. My girlfriend knows me. She understands that I was never happy in management, that I have an ability and talent for language that will one day provide for us both. But ever since June began, she's been badgering me about finding a job, any job, again. We're not poor. This disagreement is becoming a daily battle. I'm keeping in your grammar mistakes because you're bragging about being a writer. She cites saving for a house and wedding. I tell her that 3 months dedicated to my work is more of an investment than 3 months stocking shelves at Costco could ever be, and that to enter back into the workforce now at 32 would be to give up on my dreams forever. She claims to believe me. She reads my stuff and tells me it's brilliant, and so do many others. Yet she still insists I must spend 40 hours a week laboring for somebody else. And now it's getting to the point where I can't even sit down to write without her doubt intruding. Doubt about the power of my work, and doubt about our relationship. Am I the wrong one here? Working on my novel, I finally feel like myself again for the first time in a decade, and I don't want to give that up. I can't write at my peak while working a full-time job, but I don't want to give up on an 8-year relationship either. Any advice would be appreciated. Update attracted a lot of controversy from people who don't know my writing or my relationship. Quick update, she's with me, and I'm still writing, and that isn't going to change. Thanks for the feedback. So, unfortunately, OP fell for probably one of the biggest mistakes on Reddit, and that's, in prior posts linking to the work that you're describing, such as your Substack. User JessonBI89 comments, him today. I'm in the midst of serializing what is the best thing I've ever written on Substack, and I've been publishing to crickets. Meanwhile, thousands of people who picked up a pen for the first time in their lives last summer are accumulating thousands of followers for drivel. Usually some thematically hollow memoir about divorce or parenthood, drowning in cliches, no grasp of tone, cadence, or voice. Yet these frauds are making a career off of the written word. And then there's me, with a background in formal education in the English language, writing my own invented genre with a deep understanding of literary conventions. And nothing Makes me wonder if this optimized algorithmic world is the final nail in the coffin for art. When the mommy memoirist is making more than Morrison ever did, we're cooked. On Substack. I ended up in line behind a single girl. I couldn't see her face, of course, but she was undeniably stylish, like a Bratz doll. Her white pants coalesced around a galactic ass, and her mahogany curls cascaded over her exposed shoulders like flowing water off an Edenic cliffside. Pink ribbons adorned her hair like that perfect present on Christmas morning. I nearly collapsed from the radiance emanating before me. A pulchritudinous brunette with contoured bronze skin and deep dark eyes like 2 cups of hot chocolate, wearing a frown across her face so devastating it nearly spurred me to seize the pizza cutter and take it to the employee's throat. Her touch alone was enough to send me back to my high school auditorium as my best friend launched into If I Only Had a Heart, as Sarah's delicate finger crept higher and higher up my taut thigh. Soft as a whisper in the starless night, yet powerful enough to conjure up a full moon. Please, girlfriend, dump this man and let him write forever. He could be the next Norman Boutin and entertain legions of ironic readers with his shittiness. I think what gets me is that he's so self-assured of himself. Like, his sentence structure is normally fine. Like, the way that he actually composes things, it's easy to read. His word choice is, to be desired, though. It is definitely lacking, let me tell you what. Galactic ass! A problem/minor recommendation that I have is, normally when reading normal people's writings, I usually have to kind of stop and correct myself sometimes to get the right kind of flow and sentence structure, because everyone kind of has a unique style of writing. They have a way of flowing their words together that's akin to how they speak. And sometimes it can take me quite a few tries before I'm 100% on the same structure and wavelength for how they've written that sentence. But for nice guys, I have an incredible knack for just straightforward reading that with no kind of pause or hesitation, and that's what happened here. Which tells me that you're really good at writing nice guys, which means that you're really good at writing people who you would want a restraining order against. So, not sure what that says about you, dude, but I would maybe reevaluate this. As one writer to another, and by writer I mean as someone who participated in the AO3 fanfiction scene, and oh boy do I know that me making that comparison just made your blood boil. You might want to kind of reevaluate how you approach your characters. Because a main character who's willing to take a pizza cutter towards someone who's apparently causing the girl with a galactic ass to frown, that doesn't make you sound like a tough guy, it makes you sound like one of those Discord alphas with a wolf profile picture photoshopped over a muscular dude. Don't worry, kitten, daddy's gonna help you. So, being a bit unnecessarily swing happy with an aluminum bat towards OP aside, OP does actually bring up one good point in this, and it's how difficult it is to actually have a work-life balance. OP is dealing with something where he wants to write. Now, whether or not the writing is something that's appealing to us is a different conversation. But he wants to write. He wants to take the time to do so. But it's difficult to find that time. When you're coming home after an 8-hour day, that's also going to include commuting, it's going to probably include lunch because you're going to have to leave at probably 7:30, get there at 8, start work, have a lunch break, then get home around 6. Well, you're already going to have to be winding down for the night. You're not really going to have time to do anything for you, except for try to give your brain what bits of dopamine it can have before you head to bed and restart the next day. It's that repeating cycle that gets you trapped in that specific kind of workflow that you can't escape from. Hell, I'm dealing with it right now. With this channel, with it being every day, I want to learn Blender. I want to continue to learn Unreal Engine 5. I want to spend the time that I have actually bettering skills of mine and picking art back up and just doing things like that, but I don't have the energy to. It's 100% not that I don't have the time, it's just that I don't have the energy to actually sit down and try and learn these new skills, because I've already used that energy earlier in the day to get work done. It's one of the many reasons why I'm excited to change how I approach getting work done on this channel, so that way I can actually spend the time needed to find and build new hobbies that'll further improve my craft. And OP is faced with a kind of shitty situation here, where he has an opportunity to be able to work on and hone his craft and do something that his brain actually enjoys. The dream of doing what you love to make money. But chances are, for his household and with his girlfriend, that may not be 100% feasible, and it might be putting additional strain on his girlfriend that is probably stressing her out. Yeah, you guys may not be poor, but it's nice not to live paycheck to paycheck. At a minimum, at least try to pick up a part-time job or something to help out with the bills while you explore your dream. Do at least something to take that weight off her shoulders, because that's probably what she's looking for and what she needs. And whether it's a full-time job or a part-time job, make sure you're making time for yourself. Spend your Friday nights relaxing, giving your brain a reset, and spend your Saturdays as your 6th workday. But it's not working for a company, it's not working for something that drives you into the wall every week, it's working for you. It's building up that experience, and eventually, with enough time that you spend building towards it, you'll look forward getting home from work and working on your other project, and spending those few hours you have before bed not watching TV or playing video games, but furthering your craft and your skill, because you won't have to spend that much energy getting the gears going. Your brain will remember and know how to keep that momentum so you can just start up that night. It's a process, it takes time, and for everyone it's different. That's how my brain is, and it's going to be different for each person, but you need to just explore how you can get your brain working towards what you want to do, but also maintaining what you have to do. It's that work-life balance that people keep talking about so much, that I should also probably be paying attention to and trying to do myself. Sorry for the long tangent there, but thank you for listening to it. This has just been something that's kind of been on my mind, and OP, while his writing might be very much men writing women, well, he did bring up a decent point about how difficult it can be actually balancing those parts of your life, even if accidental. In the end, probably the most blanket advice that I can give that applies to everyone, including OP, is don't be afraid to pursue your craft, but don't pursue it in the cost of those you love. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for lying to my wife about going to the gym every afternoon? My wife, 27 female, and I, 28 male, have a 9-month-old daughter. My wife quit her job to be a stay-at-home mom until our daughter gets to be preschool-aged. Our daughter has gotten to be pretty predictable. Every morning at 6 a.m., on the dot, she will cry. I take the early morning cries, so what I used to do was go pick her up. Eventually she'll cry herself out and go back to sleep until about 8. I have to be in for work at 7:30, so usually she's my alarm clock, and I just get ready for the day, then go into work. My wife and I have also agreed that I'm allowed an hour and a half of free time directly after work, so I can still go to work out, as it's really the only hobby I have. So usually, I'll get off at 4:30 and get home by around 6. Usually by then dinner is ready, and I'll eat and take the baby for the rest of the night. A few weeks ago, I started thinking, why don't I just go to the gym in the morning? I'll already be up and I can just shower at the gym. So the first time my daughter cried, I got her back to sleep, then went to the gym, and went straight from there to work. When I got home at 4:30, my wife wasn't expecting me, obviously, and immediately handed me our daughter. The next time I did it, I just waited in my car at work, caught up on some reading, and caught some friends, and got home at like 6, and we had a normal routine. So after that, I realized that if I go to the gym in the morning and just still not show up until 6, I'm not getting any extra personal time, I'm just shifting what I do during which times. So I kept doing it, and things seemed to work out fine. And I had more energy when I got home to be with my daughter in the evenings, since I hadn't just worked out, and it even helped me with my sleeping issues since I was so tired by the time I put my daughter to bed. This was all working out until earlier this week. My wife surprisingly woke up a bit after I left, and she called me. I told her I was at the gym. She asked why I went this morning instead of the afternoon. I told her I've been doing it for the last few weeks. Seemingly, she had no issues. Until again got home at 6, at which point she laid into me and told me I was deceiving her. She said I was trying to be away from my family as much as possible. I disagree, as we both worked out when we get personal time, and even as it is now, I get a lot less than her, since she gets breaks even while being home while I'm at work. She told me that I need to be home by 4:30 from now on, so I don't think I'm the asshole here because, like I said, even how it is now, her day has pretty large periods of time where the baby is asleep during the day or where she's playing and being quiet. Whereas the only time I have to myself, genuinely to myself, is at work. And even the time I'm working out is technically part of my duty day. So I feel like that vindicates me, but I don't know. Am I the asshole? I mean, you could have just talked to your wife. You guys agreed on having an hour and 30 minutes off, and you could have just, when you got home, been like, hey, would it be okay if I just had some time to decompress after work before I, am on daughter duty or something, and actually talking to her and not just perceiving a lie for, God knows how long? You also gotta keep in mind, dude, just because she might have time off when the baby's asleep, it doesn't mean that she has time off. It means she probably has other things she now has to attend to, like cleaning, or just making sure the house is in order, cooking, making sure meals are prepared, or just other things to make sure everything is running smoothly while you're at work and she's still at home. I may not know the ins and outs of every little detail of what she has to be doing, but I do know that being a stay-at-home mom is still difficult and she's got a lot she's got to manage. So, I don't know, dude. Just communicate with her and talk to her. I mean, I don't know. Your wife is just constantly caring for your infant child all day and she's probably kind of lonely. And I think with that newfound energy you have at 4:30 every day, she'd probably really love it if you came home and spent time with her and the child. And, every now and then just having some time off after you get home from work. I don't know. Talk to your wife. It's as it is right now, I don't blame your wife for being mad because she's stuck at home with your infant child. Well, you get to actually just be away from home and do your own thing. That's completely disconnected from the responsibilities of your wife that she can't just walk away from because infant child who's not in preschool yet. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for sharing my niece's social media picture with my brother? I live in Canada. My niece recently moved here from India to study at a university. She's currently on summer break. When she first arrived, my brother, her father, asked me to keep an eye on her. He didn't mean to monitor her or anything, just to check in occasionally and make sure she was doing okay. Not struggling with loneliness, depression, or anything like that, since she was living in a different country. A few weeks ago, I randomly ran into my niece while I was out. She was with some friends and told me they were heading to a concert. I didn't think much of it. Later, I saw pictures she posted from the event on social media. A few days ago, I was talking with my brother. I mentioned that I had run into his daughter and that she had gone to a concert. He was curious and asked what kind of concert it was. I told him she had posted photos from it. He said he couldn't see them because the link wasn't working for him for some reason. So I just sent him screenshots. That turned out to be a huge mistake. My brother got very upset. He said she wasn't supposed to dress like that she looked naked, and that her makeup was inappropriate. For context, my brother is quite religious, but I honestly didn't realize this would be an issue. Since she's been in Canada, my niece is dressed similarly to many other students her age, and nothing about the photos seemed shocking to me. Apparently, my brother confronted her about it. Now my niece is upset with me because she says I shared the photos with her father when she didn't want him to see them. She feels I violated her trust. The thing is, I genuinely had no idea this was supposed to be a secret. The photos were posted on her social media, and I assume my brother already knew the kind of life she was living here. I wasn't trying to report on her or get her in trouble. I was just answering his questions about a conversation we'd been having. At the same time, I can understand why my brother feels he should know what's going on. He's paying for her education and living expenses in Canada. From his perspective, if people see what she's up to, it'll bring shame to the family. I mentioned my sons do similar stuff, and it is different here, but he was not convinced, as he says she will have to return to India at some point. Now my niece thinks I betrayed her, and my brother thinks I did the right thing. I feel like you adding the mention that, for context, your brother being religious as he is, I feel like you did know that he would have a problem with it. Also, my feeling is, just from reading this, the fact that your niece is insisting that you broke her trust or betrayed her trust means that there may have been a conversation between the two of you at some point. And it definitely sounds like you may have just yeeted her under the bus to her brother because you might have some agreeance to it. Or are you just stirring the pot? Because I gotta ask, did you really have no idea that the activities your niece was up to would have caused problems with her family? Like, she trusted you. She viewed you as someone who is safe to confide that she's actually just living the lifestyle that she wants to, which is just a normal Canadian girl. And now you put that in jeopardy. And certainly, potentially, judging by the father's reaction, her safety as well, with her eventually going back to India. Oh boy, welcome to the outro. I hope for those of you that missed Devil last week are grateful to see it return. You can thank me in the comments for being so gracious. No, actually, please don't do that. I was just kidding. No, please hit backspace. Stop that. How about instead of doing that, use code EYES at checkout with gamer subs. Get 10% off. How is that segue? Horrible? Yeah, I agree. But, anyways, it's probably where I'm going to cap the video off. I don't have really too much to add more onto that. I just hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and, catch y'all next time. Whoa.